Can you come in, please, all the way up front? All the way up front. Thank you. Hi, guys. Hello. Can we please sit down? Can we please sit down? Thank you. The people at the hallway, please in or out. الناس اللي في الطرقة تعالوا جوه أو اتحركوا على قاعة please. Thank you. Name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Hi everyone. How are you? Good? You know why you're here today? Huh? Why? Are you in trouble? No, we're not. And that's what I want you to know. Shh. We're not in trouble. We're here to know, to learn, to understand. This knowledge is crucially important. Do we have two guys with good muscles to move this thing? Two guys? ندخله جوه معاك ماركو خد لحد ما. Thank you. Teachers, is this everyone ولا لو طلعنا فوق في الهولويز هنلاقي في شباب قاعدين في الفصول؟ Did we send someone to check? Okay. We're here today to listen, to learn, to know our rights, to know our responsibilities as good citizens, not as someone who think that they can do whatever and it's like مش هيبقى في consequences. That's not the case. It's very important to know your rights and your responsibilities. We have Officer Jim will talk to us today with the presentation. If you want to make the best out of this, please listen. Please do not talk. Have all the questions at the end of the presentation. Will be easier this way. في حد تاني جاي? Can we please find a spot and sit? Thank you. اسم الصليب العيال دي كلها بتيجي منين؟ يلا حبيبي. There you go. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad to see a lot of bodies here today of all ages. It's always nice when we are discussing issues amongst our teenagers and that we also see some adults in the room. My name is Officer Jim Carbone. I am obviously a police officer. I'm a police officer in the city of North Olmsted. I started many years ago in the city of Cleveland. I followed in my father's footsteps. He was a 30-year Cleveland policeman back in the 60s, and he worked through a couple riots in Cleveland. He was in the homicide unit for 19 years. He retired in organized crime, and then he went to the prosecutor's office for many years. My oldest sister, Chris, became an FBI, worked for the FBI. My middle sister, Lisa, I have three older sisters, is a Cleveland police dispatcher. And then my sister, Dawn, worked for the prosecutor's office for many years. So we're a family of law enforcement. It's in our blood. I know some of you guys live in Strongsville. Show of hands who lives in Strongsville. Okay. My parents both lived in, a lot of people have been asking what nationality I am. I'm actually Italiano, and my parents grew up in two Italian neighborhoods in Cleveland, one being St. Rocco off of Fulton, and then my dad's from West 65th Detroit neighborhood, Our Lady Mount Carmel there. And they moved from Cleveland to Parma. I was born in Parma, and then at the age of 5, we moved to Strongsville. We've been there ever since. All my sisters live in Strongsville. All my nephews went to Strongsville. Now my kids go to Strongsville. So, and I know you guys represent many communities, which is awesome. Just not one better than Strongsville. I'm also a city councilman in Strongsville. So I'm at an early age, especially my dad, coming from a rough neighborhoods in Cleveland, when they got to Strongsville, they were just very appreciative. And with that, my dad got us heavily involved in the city. So there's no question probably why I got involved in city council. I am married to my wife, Allison. She actually grew up in Strongsville, and she went to Strongsville City Schools, and then she went to Holy Name High School. And then we have 3 children. We have Michael, we have Lucia, and we have Dominic. So we're very, very, very blessed. And one thing we're going to be discussing today, and the reason why I kind of give a thorough background, especially with family, everything begins and ends with family. Everything. Family is the root of everything. So when I'm hearing some people stopping me just in the last 40 minutes I've been here, and people say, well, we don't know what's going on. We're so happy you're here to talk to our youth. I'm hearing youth, I'm hearing youth, I'm hearing youth. And we're going to talk to the youth. But this is also a perennial problem as well, because everything comes from family. Have kids changed? Of course they've changed. Because the family structure has changed. And I will repeat 100 times that everything begins and ends with family. If you take a tree, the root system of the tree is everything. The leaves, how they blossom in the spring, and how they full foliage in the summer. And then in the fall, how they change colors. It's beautiful, but the root system is everything. Without that root system, we don't have all that beauty. And that's what our family is. Our family is the root of everything. So I have the pleasure of working, if Sammy could stand up, unbelievable person. He deserves a round of applause. And I am not just saying this. Moms and dads in this room, when you put your children on a bus, when they walk to school or you drop them off, I wish that you could drop them off to a teacher, and every teacher was like this guy. He is unbelievable. His smarts, his knowledge is great. The desire to do the job is great. But sometimes you could be the smartest and you can have all that. You got to have the heart. You got to want to do it. And this guy provides everything to those kids at North Olmsted Middle School, and it's an honor and a privilege to have them and work alongside of them. So today, we are going to discuss some of the things that are going on with our youth and concerns that have come up from your church community. And it's no different than anywhere else. Whether you're in Strongsville, Cleveland, Westlake, Broadview Heights, the issues are all the same. Now, maybe the issues in Cleveland, there might be some other factors that you put in the equation. But for the most part, kids are kids. For the most part, it's the same thing. Making good decisions. Social media. You know, what we do when we're not in front of our parents and those decisions. What we do or fail to do in school. Or maybe one night we're lazy, or 2 nights we're lazy. Maybe we don't have that drive for that education. It's all the same. So we're here to just discuss some of the topics that have come up in your community here and that Mr. Roman kind of put together. So I am a police officer, but I am detailed to the North Olmsted City Schools. I'm a school resource officer. And we are there not because we have all these issues in North Olmsted. I am there so we protect what we don't have there. We assure the students, the staff, and the parents that we're going to continue to have a quiet, safe, clean learning environment. That's our goal. And we don't want our system, so the city and the schools made an investment in having police officers in there to assure that our environment does not change. And the look of a school resource officer, for some of who are my teenagers? Who are my middle school and high schoolers in here? Okay. All of you? All right, how many of you guys have an officer in your school? That's awesome. That's awesome. And we provide multiple services, believe it or not. And a lot of this, I'll just speak for myself. I'm in the classroom. We're educating our kids on certain things, on certain behaviors that we might be seeing, decisions that are making, talking about the law. That's a part of it, education, very important. But the biggest piece of this is not enforcement. And fortunately for me, currently being in North Olmsted, we have good schools, we have good families, we have good kids. Not that they don't test me once in a while. But enforcement is actually the smallest piece. The biggest piece of a school resource officer is counseling. And I think Mr. Roman will agree, in our school district, more kids come to me than anybody else in the district. Anybody. And they come in with things that are on their mind, things that are troubling them, obstacles in their life that they don't feel they could go to anyone else. Or there's a comfort zone with me because they know we've established relationships, which is so important. We've established relationships and there's a comfort zone. And with that establishing relationships and with the comfort zone, they feel obviously comfortable coming in and laying in some of the problems that they're having. And the issues are sometimes minute, or there's issues that breaks my heart that I don't even know how I could, at their age, be able to overcome and when they come into our school environment, have that expectation of reading and writing and math when their home life just isn't that good. But even when I say my most minute problems that come in, for teenagers, it's heavy. See, because what they're doing is they're just learning, you're starting to learn to make decisions on your own. You're learning how to handle certain situations. So those little ones are actually, in our teenagers, moms and dads out there, are huge in how they handle it. And it's wonderful that as a school resource officer in the schools that have it, we have the ability to be able to get right to the source and complement the staff, the administrators, and the teachers. Because we want to head off any problems. We want to have high expectations. We want to be able to head off any problems. And we want to be there to encourage and assist our teenagers. So those are the daily duties of a police officer in a school. You know, and it might look different in other schools. I worked in Cleveland. Unfortunately, there wasn't much education going on as far as police officers in the schools. There wasn't a lot of counseling going on in the schools in the city of Cleveland. So it was more enforcement, unfortunately. So it might look a little different when you talk in suburban or urban, but I think for the most part, in our suburban communities, it's kind of all the same. When you talk about the role, some of the things, obviously, we're there to render first aid. Believe it or not, unfortunately, things happen in our schools. And I know we're going to talk about it later, but I'm going to mention it twice because the importance of it. The number of kids over the last 4 years Hitting vapes is a problem. Anytime you put a substance in your body, it's a problem. There's a positive and there's a negative to everything. Anything you put in your body, there's a positive and negative. Anything you do, period, there's going to be an effect. If you go to the gym every day and you work out, and you do this for a long period of time, the effect is going to be you're going to develop your body, right? And I know a lot of our teenagers are starting to get into working out and track and football and all that stuff. When you go to and you start orchestra and you put your heart and soul in that, and you learn that music and you practice, the effect of that is going to be a positive outcome during concerts. So anything you do, there's an effect. And I'm pretty blunt about things. What do you think the effect is going to be when we hit a vape? Because under the role of a police officer and a school resource officer, unfortunately, part of my role now in North Olmsted City Schools, last year we wrote 87 citations in the school. $150 a ticket. 87. We confiscated. We cited. They have to take a class. It's a heavy burden for something that's so negative. And what's frustrating is when I have the student in my office, I'm like, I'm not addicted, Officer Carbone. You're not? But so you're going where people go to the bathroom, hiding yourself in a stall so you can hit this, but you're not addicted. I don't know. But unfortunately, our roles changed because we have to enforce that. Last year alone in North Olmsted Schools, we had 3 kids hit the vapes, and we've had to transport them by ambulance because of the effects it had. See, we all think that maybe it's safe, or maybe you know of people that do it and nothing happens. But what we're noticing, even when you buy the stuff over the counter, it's laced. So we've had to transport students, and actually one student that purchased a vape from a store had a very bad reaction. We transported, we tested the vape, and there was fentanyl in it. That little girl's lucky she didn't die. Police officers in the school, we don't have a lot of it, but there is, there's interrogation, there's questioning, there's all that has to be taken on. My role in the school also, we like to be involved in just the daily disciplines. When kids are making little tiny mistakes or saying things they shouldn't say, I make sure I'm there at almost every single one. Remember, we don't want to make a little problem a big problem. So there's a lot of roles that a school resource officer has outside of law enforcement in a school. This is something that came up actually, this first one, what if students commit crimes or disruptions outside the campus? That came up, a couple parents had asked about that, and I don't know if that's been an issue here or what have you. But I could tell you this, we just had it in North Olmsted, unfortunately, where there was some damage done to one of the elementary buildings, and it was after school, it was over the weekend. We caught them on video, surveillance. And what we do in those circumstances is they are charged criminally for criminal damaging. The civil part of it is non-criminal, is then they have to pay, the family has to pay to have it repaired. But then also, because it's on school grounds, doesn't matter what time of the day or during school, they're also, the students got a 10-day out of school suspension with a recommendation for expulsion. So I can't speak for every district, but we don't take that lightly. And actually, we're probably one of the more stricter schools. We want to have high expectation for our kids and make sure that we don't create issues. And with that, we drug test at North Olmsted Schools. We breathalyze for every dance. We are pretty much on it. And then also, anything that would be classified criminal, most districts will just handle from the school discipline. We still do that, but we also have a criminal aspect of it. So you fight in North Olmsted, we will charge you, and then we put you through our youth diversion program, and we try to alter those behaviors to make better decisions later. What if aggression toward other students or facility took place? Aggression there's no place in our society, period, for aggression. We could get mad and we can get upset, and as parents, and I'm a parent, obviously those things happen. There's a time and place for everything, and there's a level to where you're expected to go. So when those things happen in our schools, that they could be a school discipline again, or they could be criminal as far as how far that's taken. You know, even when you look at, we had something years ago, and I always still use it as an example, because it's amazing how things can change. We had 2 students in our middle school, and they were horse playing, and they're best friends. They were horse playing, and they couldn't take their hands off each other, pushing, shoving, doing all this. They were always both told, keep your hands off each other. Now, all the staff knew they were best friends, and the maturity level just wasn't quite there. So one day, now mind you, these kids were best friends. Sleepovers, parents, all that, sporting events, all that stuff. They were horse playing as they were coming out of a class, and the kid slipped, landed on his nose, and blew up his nose, blood all over the place. They're friends. At that point, the line was drawn. The parents went after them civilly. It was 2 kids just joking around, not that we condone it. Went after them civilly, and it was just a mess. So as we think we're being playful and we're joking around, things happen, right? Just be mindful of that. Things happen. A little slip, and then these 2 families' worlds changed. And it was amazing how the parents both took different sides. And I tried to bring them back together, try to mediate the situation, and that wasn't going to happen. So when you're horse playing and all that, it is very, very, very difficult. The next 2, when we talk about how our kids are changed and our parents are changed, our society has changed, it's very simple. This tool has created a lot of convenience. Technology, there's a lot of advancement because of this. But this really and truly, in my eyes, is the root of all evilness, right here. This is it. This is it right here. This has changed our world. This has changed our parents. It's changed our kids. It's changed our families. It's changed our society. It's changed what our kids do every weekend, at night. We don't see, because of this one little instrument, we don't see kids outside playing anymore. Even my kids are in 6th grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade. And we put limitations and we put restrictions, and we're strict. But it's a fight every day. There's an addiction to these. And it's crazy. And I know there's a convenience aspect. But I don't think, and I'm not just putting this on our teenagers here, I don't think people understand how these devices change you, how these devices track you. I never put in my phone when I'm charging it on the way home. I never put in there that I'm going to my house and it knows it's 21 minutes to get to my house. It's tracking every step you take. Every step you take. Do you ever notice, and I'd like to see a raise of hands on this. Did you ever notice when you're talking about Nike Air Jordans, or you're talking about something, and then all of a sudden, you didn't type it into your phone. All of a sudden, you're getting ads and sales for it. Think about how scary that is. I can't tell you enough how serious it is. And understand this. And I tell our kids till I'm blue in their face, but they still don't get it. Anything you put on that phone, even if you delete it, is always there. It is always there. It never goes away. So, when we come up with an issue, we can trace back and find deleted stuff. And it's not hard at all. It's not hard at all. And one of the issues that we have been seeing has to deal with pornographic images or sexting. You want to talk about something that is so detrimental. Our parents, think about how it was when we were in middle school or high school. The difficulties of our hair had to be right. Our clothes had to be right. Right? What we said and who we hung out with and everything. And kids, we know, students, teenagers, we know you're going through that. How about the person that has a very weak moment and they're getting pressure to send photos of themselves? At 1 week time, you send that photo. I am telling you this. I am guaranteeing you. It's 100% guarantee, boy, girl, it does not matter. If you take a picture of yourself and you send it to somebody, I guarantee you 100%, 1,000%, 10,000%. Somebody else, if not a lot of people, are going to see that photo. So if you're okay with that, then that's on you. But take what I said, how difficult it is just daily to be in the halls of a middle school and high school. And now, whether they're looking at you or not, because you have that, you think they saw your photo, or they did see your photo, how hard is it now to walk through those halls and be able to be at school to get an education? By the way, that's what you're there for. You control that part of it. I'm only telling you this. You will, eventually, those photos will surface. And I'll just share with you how. You really like this person. We get it. We all like somebody at some point. And you feel like you can trust them. And you're in love and all that stuff. All that's good stuff, right? You're in love. This person's good looking. They're cute. They make you feel a certain way. Been there, done that. But what happens in every middle school relationship? There's a what? A breakup. Oh boy. Wait, so you don't date somebody in middle school and then date them for the next 80 years of your life and marry them? So my middle schoolers, raise your hand. Okay. What's the average relationship in middle school? How long? A week. 2 days. A month. A class period. Hold on. Need I say more? High schoolers, how long are our relationships? I mean, think about this, folks. Your body, your virginity, is the most precious thing that you have. The creation of your body and how your body operates is a miracle from heaven. And only you own that. Be protective of that. Don't let just anybody, don't invite just anybody in. And there's a time and place for everything. And whether you want to hear it or not, wait till you're older, wait till you're married. That's the most precious thing. But a lot of teenagers don't. And when you talk about the difficulties of life and being a teenager in the hallways or just trying to survive, how about you take the most precious thing and then it's gone? You can never get it back. Never. And then the social media aspect of it intensifies. The comments on social media, oh, we have so many comments. You would think from the comments that we get from kids of all ages, teenagers, you'd think they're the baddest dudes in the world. Man, that girl's tough. I wouldn't mess with her. Anybody's tough behind a computer. You want to make, and I'm a little dude and I'm not tough. I'm not going to lose, but I'm not tough. But it's very simple to walk out of here and say, I don't like that guy. Carbone, man, nothing. It's very simple to go home tonight on your phone or computer and make every comment you want. I'll use Strongsville. Strongsville moms discuss it, right? Make any comment you want. Simple. And that's what's happened here. So it's so much easier to make threats and to people and say nasty things about people. But think about this. How hard is it to come to my face and tell me something? Or go to that person's face, that girl in your class that you don't like. Maybe she's dating your dude or whatever it is. Or that other boy, man, you know what? He looked at me wrong, this, that, whatever the story is. Very difficult to confront somebody and say, why is this going on? Very easy. And this is where the problems come in. Do you know what a threat is? Because threats are criminal. But it doesn't go back to our family values, right? It doesn't go back to the root of what our existence is, our faith and our family. Faith, family, education. My parents had nothing. Money wasn't in the equation. My mom stayed home. My dad was a Cleveland policeman. He worked 80 hours a week to get us out of the neighborhood. But my dad always said there's 3 things in life that nobody can take from you. Well, 3.5, but 3 things. Your faith, your family, and your education. Right? They can't take that away from you. Anything in life, you can lose at a drop of a dime. You get your education, nobody can take that away from you. Your faith, nobody can take that away from you. Your family, nobody can take that away from you. The half part was us, was being Italian, right? 2 kinds of people in this world. People are Italian and people wish they were Italian. I mean, I heard it so many times. And now what do? I install in my kids, look at faith, family, education. That's our foundation. And part of that is not going on social media, putting somebody else down. Part of that is not sending pictures. Part of that is going out and helping. We're going to be a family of people that are appreciative, that are loving, and willing to help others. And that's what we're trying to grow amongst our youth. But it's just so easy to make that comment. Do you know how many times I've been to homes I had to go to a shed and a girl's hanging, not breathing. And I have to go there because they don't know who she is, but they know she's a teenager, and I have to identify the body. This stuff is real. And don't you think for 1 minute what you say does not affect others. It does. I'm living proof because I've been to homes where people have killed themselves over comments that other teenagers make. Be the voice of positive. Gosh darn it, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. We don't have to add to all this negativity in our communities and in our world. There's enough people doing that. Be the voice of reason. Be the voice of love. Be the voice that just shuts your mouth and doesn't say anything. But what you say verbally online affects people. You don't know until you walk in their shoes what's going on. You just don't know. I got a good life. There's struggles. But I don't know about my neighbor. I don't know about somebody here or there. But I'm not going to add the poison to the social media. We need to have teenagers that are strong, that stand up against it. You see something, you hear something in the hallways of your school, tell them to take a strength in numbers, man. Stop. Get out of here. Stand up against that. If you see something on social media, stop. Because I've seen the other side of it. Sometimes meeting people is difficult. We understand as teenagers, relationships are important, whether it's friends or, boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. And sometimes people succeed. They're very outgoing, and it's easy for them. Some are not. So what we've also noticed, where do we go to meet people? Online. Last year at North Olmsted Middle School, we had a middle school girl gaming. Meets a man, 28 years old. Okay? They start having dialogue. He did not present himself as a 28-year-old. Later, she learned he was older, but he already established a relationship with a girl who's very insecure with herself. He's from New York. After a year of talking, he's coming to Cleveland. He's going to come see her. She's as tickled and happy as can be. Because you know what? Nobody in my middle school pays attention to me. I have somebody, it doesn't matter he's out of state, it doesn't matter that he's older. What matters is that I matter to him. He takes a flight to Cleveland. He rents a car. He gets a hotel room. He drives by our middle school. Did you know this? Okay. Takes a picture. I'm here. The grace of God, this girl realized this isn't right. Called her mom. She got scared, left the school, called her mom. Mom immediately called the police. I was immediately notified. We were trying to find the location of this person. We could not find him. We found out where he was staying, but he was not in the room. We had the girl and the mom go to the police station. The girl called him. So glad on her phone with a police officer present. I'm so glad you came to see me. Can you meet me in 15 minutes at the library? So he met this little 12, 13-year-old girl, but he met the North Olmsted Police Department as well, and we arrested him. We got a search warrant to search the hotel room. I don't think this little girl knew what she was in for. Gotta be careful. I'll tell you another quick story. We had another girl. She was in high school from another community, not North Olmsted. She met some guy online, and what must have happened, he was searching and saw this girl, started reading her post, learned about her, okay? Learned all about her. She was heartbroken because her boyfriend broke up with her, blah, blah, blah. But in his eyes, she's beautiful and all this stuff. He got to know this girl through her posts. Through her post, he knew that she was heartbroken, that she was naive. He knew where she lived. He knew what school she went to. He knew she was a cheerleader. He knew what she does after school, where she goes after school, where she goes gets her coffee, where she gets this. He learned all about this girl without having one conversation with her. So they start communicating. Hey, I see you went through a breakup. My girlfriend just broke up with me. I go to this high school out wherever. I'm heartbroken. How are you getting over it? I don't know how to get over this. I can't eat. I can't sleep. Now on the other hand, here's the girl. Oh my God, this guy's going through exactly what I'm going through. Oh my gosh, yes, I'm going through the same thing. There's a connection. They go back and forth. The guy says, can you send me a picture of you? Oh, she sends her a picture, beautiful little girl, all this stuff. He sends a picture. She's like, damn, he's a good-looking guy. He's a good-looking teenager, all this. Like she's as tickled as can be. Then it's the setup. He's like, hey, you live close to North Olmsted. Why don't we meet up at the mall? Okay, yeah, that's great. All excited. I'm sure she's doing her hair, all that. She's good to go. Probably lying to her parents, Goes to Great Northern Mall. They're meeting in this one location. Oh, yeah, I'm in a white car, whatever. Oh, there it is. Goes up to the car. This older guy comes out. The older guy goes, oh, are you here for so-and-so? Yeah, oh, I took the drive with him. He's over here. And he'll be back in like 5 minutes. Why don't you just sit in the car and we'll wait? So she starts walking to the car. And then something clicked that she said, this isn't right. She went to go turn. This guy grabbed her. So this 62-year-old guy is the one she's been communicating with the whole time. 62 years old, trying to grab her in the car and abduct her. Guys, it's very, very, very scary. Now, we're not going to go into detail. What do you think if he would have gotten her in the car, and I don't want to hear it, think about it, what he was going to do? How that would have changed this girl's life forever. How that could change your life forever. Even the 62-year-old guy, how his life was changed forever. Because we caught him. It was a little pursuit. We grabbed him. Probably still in prison. So what you say definitely could be very detrimental. I'm gonna touch base on a couple of these things, but there's also something else I want to do. What if students have become argumentative? Disrespectful. I like those too. Because some of our teenagers are like that. And I'm actually going to incorporate a little bit of law enforcement here, okay? We know that there's a narrative out there about law enforcement. And I believe, and Mr. Roman and I talk about it all the time, we believe it's a false narrative. We believe, I say it a lot with my kids, but I say it a lot with my kids at North Olmsted. I go, figure things out on your own. The two evils in this world, and remember, I'm an elected official, are politicians and the media, right? So base things, you know, my daughter Lucia is going to school, and she's all upset she doesn't get the teacher she wants because she heard this teacher. My daughter Lucia is going to tell me, Dad, you don't understand how mean this one is. Really? Okay. Well, who told you she's mean? Well, so-and-so and so-and-so. And I said, well, maybe so-and-so and so-and-so are not good students. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. You give everybody a fair chance. You determine yourself with your own interactions and experience. So Strongsville, if you guys go to Strongsville, they started last Wednesday. This weekend, we're talking to Lucia, and I said, how's your teacher? Oh my God, Dad, she is wonderful. And the reason I bring this up, if you can master this, you'll live such a better life. Make decisions based on your own interactions with somebody, whether law enforcement, they're black, they're white, Italian, Irish, Arabic, whatever. How people treat you, because here's the thing, as much pride, and believe me, it was ingrained growing up that Italian. But it was also said, look, everybody makes bad decisions, and there's some people even in our own ethnicity that we're not proud of. So you make decisions on your own. And law enforcement, you know, I do believe, I'm not going to get into it, but I think the media and there's a political agenda. But with us, it all comes down to respect. It's with anything. Right? You got to respect one another to get respect. Your family, you got to respect. But with law enforcement, it's a little different. Because if you look at any of these incidents that occur, there's one thing that is common. Right at the initial contact. Does anybody know what that is? Right at the initial contact with somebody, the argumentative, oppositional, disrespectful. Guys, it stinks. Like, here's the thing. I mentor a lot of our new officers. Whether you're a little baby or you're a big baby who's 90 years old, nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody. Who likes to be told what to do here? Raise your hand. Right? No. Then all of a sudden, man, you got 20 things on your mind. You got to be here, do this, do that. And then the police are pulling you over. And unfortunately, we have to take control of these scenarios. You're not going to dictate to us. And here's the thing, sometimes policemen aren't always right. But how many times do you think you're going to win that argument on the side of the road, or we have to go to a call of a disturbance, right? You're going to dictate to us what goes on? That's not what happens. So I'm going to do a quick scenario, if that's okay, with what we do in the schools. So can I have somebody... Man, you already, come on up here, bro. Man, he's all smiling. Can you sit right there? All right, here's our scenario. What's your first name? Caro? Caro is in class. And he's not in a good mood. and he is using very bad language and making very poor decisions. So the teacher in the class, what do you think the teacher's going to do? You think the teacher is probably going to say some things and then finally he's going to get frustrated and says, just leave the class. Like, you're a complete disruption. But Carol refuses to leave. No. So then the teacher, how many of you guys have the little white button that goes in the classroom right to the main office? Now the principal comes over. Principal asks him to leave. Doesn't leave. Refuses. And then the principal's fed up, calls the school resource officer. So I come over. Hey, what's going on here, man? Now everybody's got the video cameras out, you know. What's going on here? Come on, man, why don't you come with me? Now, we're going to talk in the main office. Come on, man. Right? Simple, right? Go sit. Man, he is a pretty good listener. Nobody got hurt. No, nothing. Nothing. It was easy, it was smooth. And actually, if it's me, and I think I could talk for most school resource officers, principals, probably the conversation from that classroom is going to be a teachable moment for that young man, okay? So sometimes, you always have to look at the good that could come out even of a bad scenario. Now let's just say that's the same scenario, okay? He's using profane language in class, profanity in class. He's being disruptive. He's not listening to the teacher, will not remove himself. Administrator comes up, the whole thing, okay? Now the school resource officer has to get involved. Can a school resource officer get involved? Is there a crime? Yeah. Disorderly conduct. When you use offensive language to 2 or more people and there's a class. So I come up, very simple, just like before. Come on, man, you're better than this, bro. Come on with me, man. Excuse me? No, man, look. I'm a policeman, man. You got to come with me. Come on, man, you got to come with me. Just come on, man, come on. You can shrug me off. Come on, man. Come on, man. Right. What are my options? He just used a bad word. Is it like this is no big deal? And look at North Homestead, we're a great city. Let's just pretend we're in Cleveland. Crime all over the place. One of the top, 8 worst cities in the country. Cleveland police officers are dealing with all sorts of bad stuff, right? Do I, as a police officer, have the right just to say, okay, you don't want to go? Okay, bye. Is that an option? Okay, all right, come on with me, man. Seriously, don't make a bad situation worse. Come on with me. Oh, man, the dude's flexing now, man. Right? What are my options here? This is just for profanity. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What are my options? Now I use force. I do this scenario at North Olmsted Middle School, or in high school. We have whiteboards in our classroom. We have a new campus, 6 through 12. This is an exact scenario from a couple years ago where a young lady did the same thing. And she refused. Kids started videotaping. And then the policeman tried to gain control and was throwing her around the classroom. It looks bad. And when you talk about society and where we're headed, oh my gosh, I don't know where. When it had nothing to do with that young lady, or we'll say young man's decisions, it had everything to do with that police officer. Like, what are our options? Just comply. You get a speeding ticket and you're like, I was not speeding. You don't argue there. Okay, officer, see you in court. Do you think you're ever going to win? No. you're going to make a very bad situation worse. In this case, politicians got involved, the media got involved, that officer was fired. I guess he should, oh, you know what they said? No, he shouldn't have walked away. What that officer should have did, he should have known better. He should have emptied out the whole class and had a one-on-one conversation with the person. What? No, the person should have complied. The next day there was protest by the students. They protested. Do you know what they protested? But this girl's always bad in class. Why are they doing this to our school resource officer? The teacher told her to leave. The principal told her to leave. The policeman said, just leave. We don't want any problems. She created this whole mess. He got his job back. I don't think he took it. I think he said, I'm done. If it's the scrutiny they put the family under. But I say this because these are behaviors through TikTok, because all the TikTok challenges and all that stuff, right? Our behaviors are becoming this. They're seeing these on social media. They're seeing them on TikTok. They're seeing them on YouTube. And they're demonstrating this. How stupid that there's a TikTok challenge. Hey, I got a good idea. You're good, man. Thank you. How about a round of applause? He did awesome. Hey, I got a really cool idea. I'm going to make a TikTok, and I'm going to challenge middle schoolers and high schoolers. Hey, go in your bathroom and rip out the soap dispensers. That's really cool. And then the paper towels, super cool. Let's promote vandalism in your school that your parents pay for. Folks, you control yourself. You make decisions for yourself. Use that as a form of entertainment and laugh and say, what a butthead, right? Like, who would do that? Who had those challenges in their schools and had issues? Raise your hand. You know what we did? We had 2 incidences in North Olmsted. We caught both of them. We walked them right out of the school in handcuffs and charged them with criminal damaging. Both of them never had an issue after that. Set the bar, the expectation, right? Use it still as a learning experience for this teenager. Yeah. So what I did here is we passed out pieces of paper to our kids, okay? I was teaching, I do all the health classes, sophomore health classes, and after the class, towards the end, I say, is there any questions? Nobody ever raises their hand. And then after this class, a little girl came up to me and she goes, Officer Carbone, she goes, how is somebody going to raise their hand and say something very sensitive in front of their peers? Why don't you have them write it on a piece of paper and not put their name on there? Well, that was from a sophomore girl. I claim it now, that was the best idea ever, but it was just from a sophomore girl. What an amazing, and some of the questions, because look, these talks are great, but we want to get to the hearts and the minds of teenagers so we can help them. And if they have a certain question in their mind or a challenge that they're going through, how awesome is it that they can write it down, right? And nobody knows, but we can answer the question. So that's what we did. So I don't know how that was relayed, but hopefully these are some good questions. Okay. If someone harms themselves because of something I said about them online, what consequences could that be? That's actually a good question. We are currently, there was a situation where a North Olmsted student moved to Colorado, and some of our kids made a comment online to them that was very detrimental, and they are being charged criminally for that. So there are criminal consequences for that. But I say that loosely Because we just shouldn't be making comments to somebody that's going to hurt them, right? We have struggles, and when we go through those struggles, do we want somebody to put us, if we're feeling here, do we want somebody to put us down even lower? So hopefully, the criminal consequence isn't everything. How do we protect our kids from addiction? Be a role model at home. Kids do what they see. If you're drinking all the time or smoking dope or doing edibles and all that stuff, your kids are probably going to do it. It's not the day where you do as I say, not as I do. We're so far away from that, it's not even funny. So a lot of this is what they see at home. It's letting them know that it's not okay and it's not acceptable. Yes, sir. I'm so happy you mentioned that. The lack of attention the kids get. I'm going to come down a little with the parents. Put the phones down and spend time with your kids. I don't care if they're 10, 18, 19. Go in their room if they're still at home when they're going to bed and lay with them. Is there anything you want to talk about? Is there anything you want to talk about? Do you know how much we love you? Folks, our kids, there's so much negativity in our society. And years ago, what used to happen is they would come home from school, and once they got home, it ended. This changed everything. It just continues. It's nonstop, 24/7. Action news. It's all cool until you're the topic. Until you're the topic. There's so much negativity. I don't have a magic ball, and I don't have the perfect solution. But how many of you eat dinner at least 3-4 times a night together? How many of you make a big deal about their birthday? How many of you talk to them or just plan a special night out? Those are the things that are going to protect these kids the most. Tradition, coming here at church, being involved. I know you have a big festival next week. Do it as a family. Maybe the kids are at their age where they want to be with their friends. Awesome. But you know what? Carve out 2 hours and do it as a family. Right? No phones. Goes for parents and teenagers. No nothing except family. Remember what I started with. Begins and ends with families. Go get ice cream. Traditions. All those things will protect your kids more than anything. See, what you're doing is you're making it harder for them to make a bad decision. They are not going to want to let you down. Our kids now need to know they are the most important things in this world. When they leave from school, for school, when they come home from school. And you know what? Some of them are not going to listen to you. And they're going to brush you off. Because they're going to be teenagers. They know everything. Blah, 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 blah. But that's when they need you the most. So I do kindergarten registration. And during that registration, there's 300-400 people there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. This is so awesome. I go, I'm proud of you parents for being here, taking an interest. You could have went online. You're here in person for your kids. I'm proud of you. I'm happy. This is awesome. This is what it's about. But how about when they're in middle school? Or how about parent conferences that nobody shows up to? How about that I'm at the North Olmsted football game and with all the number of band members, this and that, it should be a packed house, but it's not. Like, I had a lady, my gosh, her son plays football, drops off her younger sibling, it says, oh yeah, we're going to dinner and getting some drinks. Your kid, I don't care if he is on the sidelines and never plays. Seriously? So we as parents have to take ownership. Those are the things that will protect our kids. I'm going to just do a couple more. It won't come up. Won't come up? Okay. How come people that have normal family background and roots still act up and disobey? None of us are normal, right? I think even when we have the appearance of a normal family, we have the appearance of all this, I think it goes back to what this gentleman said, how much time and attention. And there are going to be some that, believe me, I deal with families, one in particular, and he became a heroin addict. And I think the parents did everything right, and we just have, there's going to be some of that. But that's when you rely on your faith, and you never give up. And you push and you push, and they pushed and they pushed and they pushed, and they came to me. I gave them advice. I said, he needs to go to jail. He needs to go to jail. He needs to go to jail. I was pulling in at the end of my shift, and he was in the McDonald's parking lot in a minivan, wigging out on heroin. And I called the troops, and I said, Mom, that's it. We're done. She goes, Officer Carbone, I will hate you forever if you do this. And I told her, I looked her right in the eyes, I said, step aside. And we yanked him out of there. He went to county jail, did some time in prison. He had time to reflect. He is a very, very, very successful young man right now. So it's just persistence. You can't control everything, but you just stay persistent. Is there anything else? I'm going to end it here. I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to be here. I was tickled whenever, especially being in an... Yeah, that's the TikTok we talked about. You're going to be charged with criminal damaging if we find out. And it's been a lot easier to do that because everything is video recorded. You can't go anywhere. Guys, you step anywhere, you're being recorded. So criminal damaging, like I said, if it's in a school, then you'll probably get a 10-day out recommendation for expulsion. Pardon me? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a North Olmsted policeman, but I'm in the business of helping kids. So anytime I can have a positive influence or answer some questions or anything, I like to do that. I'm going to end it. These are two things that I hung up on our door going to our garage for my kids. And this is more towards the students here. And actually, so to our teenagers, I'm going to talk to you. I like to look at you guys are all my kids, right? Be humble. Be kind. If you have more than somebody else, you're blessed, but it's not everything, right? Be humble if you have that. Be kind. I live in a community where I think Stronzel's demographics are pretty high, and I just see some people that I don't think are humble. And I tell my kids, just because you may not have this or that, you got something that maybe they don't have, and that's your mom and dad, your nana, your yaya, your papa, aunts, uncles, cousins. But I read this to my kids the night before school. Success is always very important. We always raise the bar. And what it takes to be successful, what you have to do daily to be successful. Reading every day is everything to be successful. You compliment somebody. You embrace change. You forgive others. You talk about ideas. You're continuously learning. You accept responsibility for your behaviors and your failures. Have a sense of gratitude. Set goals and develop a plan. And it probably went way over their head, right? I go, but here's the thing. If you don't want to be successful and you don't want to be happy, watch TV every day and just make that a priority. Criticize others. That's cool. Fear change. Hold a grudge. You don't like something? Yeah, whatever. Instead of being a better person. If you're not willing to learn, then you know what? Just think you know everything and that's right. That'll get you far in life. Blame others for your failures. Have a sense of entitlement. 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 The entitlement right now is out of control. And never set goals. I'll end it here. 10 lessons I want to instill in my kids. If you're thankful, if you guys are thankful for something, show it. If it's a party, you get a gift, or you get this, or you're just happy, or you see your parents at a sporting event, thank them. Show that you're thankful. If you love somebody, tell them. Tell them you love them. If you're wrong, I'm wrong, man. I made a mistake. If you're confused, ask a question. If you're stuck, ask for help. If you made a mistake, apologize. If you trip, get back up. Because let me tell you, in this world, you're going to fall a lot. If someone needs help, help them. And lastly, if you see wrong, take a stance. Were you able to get that up? All right. Teenagers, I'm done with you, and I'm going to end it here with the parents. Hold on, sit down. Now, this is a poem for our parents. There are little eyes upon you, and they're watching night and day. There are little ears that quickly take in every word you say. There are little hands all eager to do anything you do, and a little one who's dreaming of the day they'll be just like you. You are the little darling's idol. You are the wisest of the wise. In their mind about you, no suspicion ever rise. They believe in you devotedly, holds that all you say and do, they will say and do in your way when they grow up to be just like you. There's a wide-eyed little fellow who believes you're always right, and their ears are always open. Their eyes and ears are always open as they're watching you day and night. You are setting an example every day in all you do for the little person who's waiting to grow up to be just like you. God bless you guys. Thank you guys very, very, very much.
Hold on 1 second, please. Hold on. Before you leave, high schoolers. Please sit down for a minute. Please. Can you sit down, girls? Can you sit down, please, for a minute? Go back, sit down, please. Sit down. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make comment for 1 minute. Please. I heard from some students that we do wrong things or bad things because when we grow up, we want to remember that we did bad things. Wrong thing can be documented against you and put you in trouble. Why not you form a group of groups and do good things? and do good things inside the church or outside for elder people or a cleaning a chair. Do things that can be in your resume when you apply to college. It's not fun to do the bad things for memory. And instead, do something good for you because it comes back to you either way. Big hand to Officer Carbone, thank him.
ما صدقته ها؟ ما صدقته. أي زيطة وخلاص صح؟ Calm down. Remember, we aren't and we are still in the church. I know we passed our time limit. But this, listen to it, this was recorded and it was live streamed. If you didn't catch anything, go back home, listen to it. If you have questions, ask your parents. If the parents have questions, we'll have more sessions, God willing. If Officer Carboni is willing to come back, will be great. And please remember, at the end of the day, we do this for our sake, for your sake, to be a good person at the end of the day. Let's stand up, say a prayer so we can leave. Quiet, please. We are praying. Hallelujah. In the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Our dear God, we thank you. We ask, Lord, to help us learn. Help us to learn from our mistakes. Help us, Lord, to pay attention to things happening around us. Help us, Lord, to develop wisdom. We need it. Help us, Lord, to be kind, be humble. Bless us. Reward everyone who works hard to teach us and to be there for us when we need them. We thank you for everything, for all the care you always provide for us. Through the intercession of our Mother, St. Mary, St. Mark, and all the choir of the saints, hear us and we'll say thankfully, Our Father, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it's heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. In Christ Jesus our Lord, for thine is the kingdom and power. Go in peace, and peace of God be with you. Leave quietly, please. Thank you. Quietly. Thank you. Can you please clean up after yourselves? Oh, please. Can you please clean up after yourselves? Don't leave trash behind you.